What is a dead giveaway that someone is an only child? They're very quiet roommates in my experience. Sometimes don't even know when they're home. I hypothesize that they're just used to quiet spaces and might feel uncomfortable when their surroundings get loud or chaotic. People with siblings are used to other people clanging around and making noise. They need more alone time and aren't scared of being home by themselves. When they're planning to go somewhere or do something, they don't tell anyone or announce it. They just go do it. As adults, they tend to live alone rather than with roommates, if circumstances allow it. If their parents are either super young or super old compared to their peers' parents, it's more likely they're the only kid. I'm an only child. My husband is the oldest of 3. For myself, I can say that I have a hard time asking for help and try to be as independent as possible, which doesn't always work to my advantage. I definitely was around more adults than kids growing up, which meant my children were literally the first babies I had ever been around. For some reason, all of my friends, and husband included, eat way faster than me, and they like to point that out. I thrive in my alone time and need a lot of it to recharge. But I also hate that I constantly feel lonely even in large groups of people and have never been able to shake that feeling. I have horrible anxiety about meeting new people. I'll do it, but I'll almost make myself sick leading up to it because my anxiety gets too out of control. Being a people pleaser is definitely up there and wanting to feel included. My dad never ate when Mom and I did. He'd sit at the table with us, but he always had stomach trouble that didn't seem to clear up until we had finished our meals. Then, if there was food left, he'd say, "Well, I guess I should try to eat something." If there wasn't anything left, he'd say that he just didn't feel like his stomach could handle anything. I didn't realize until I was an adult that he was waiting to be sure that my mom had enough to eat before feeding himself. And that he went to bed hungry on more than one occasion. It didn't occur to me what he was doing, because his mother, younger sister and younger brother confirmed that he'd done this since he was around 10. He went hungry as a kid, to make sure that they didn't. Nowadays, even the simplest meal at his house looks like a Thanksgiving feast for an army. But he always fills his plate last and never takes a second helping until everyone else has finished. As an only, I'm weird as hell. I'm very comfortable being alone and doing things on my own, like going to movies alone if nobody wants to go with me, and I always keep myself busy doing something. Having my husband around kinda cramps my style because now I'm worried my weird little project or whatever is going to be boring for him, so he sees me as indecisive. I know what I want to do, but unlike someone with siblings, I don't know exactly how to manage who gets to pick, so I always default to letting him choose. I'm very introverted as well. I'm also very close with my parents. My mom calls me almost every day just to chat. My dad works out of town, so she's home alone a lot, and my dad calls me when work is slow and he's bored. I also regularly go on vacations with my mom and my mother-in-law. They've become really good friends, and we do a lot of girls' day kind of activities. As an only with older parents, I also tend to have fewer friends my own age. The last party my husband and I went to was with people older than both of our parents. Also, retired 70-year-olds can out-party my little 30-year-old self. I have a crap ton of cousins and I'm very well socialized and love family gatherings, but I prefer being at home in my quiet space with my dog and cats. Only children are often, not always, quite skilled at making and keeping friends. This is born out of necessity. Those with siblings are stuck with each other whether they're nice to each other or not. They're still there, when they're kids at least. They don't have to put effort in to get their siblings to play with them, hang out or do stuff because they just do it, and can't escape lol. Kids with siblings have these built-in ready-made companions that they're essentially trapped with for till 18 years or more. They may not always like each other that much, but they're at least there. For only children, if they want company/someone to play with, they have to work at making friends and being a good friend, being someone nice enough that others willingly want to hang out with them because it's a free choice. If you're a misery, annoying or cheat at games all the time, then your buddy's going home and will probably say no to hanging out over time. Only children have to get skilled at making and keeping friends if they want companions, because if they're not good at it, then they're alone. There's no ready-made forced playmates for only children, so they get good at making friends. Especially for those kids with 2+ siblings, they have a ready-made group to hang with and often haven't needed to make friends so much, plus their family is naturally busier with multiple kids too, so they get to later teenage and young adult years and struggle that they first have to find and make friends, which is a skill in itself, but also behave nicely enough to keep them unlike their siblings who were trapped with them no matter what. Put simply, friends won't tolerate the same behavior that your siblings do. I'm the second of 4 kids and my husband is an only. Maybe this was just my weirdo fam, but there were very clear and sacred rules around dividing things, especially food, among the 4 of us, or 6, if parents were also partaking. I would basically never not count how many of something arrived on a shared plate or in a box of something, and I would also feel 100% required to take exactly my share, no more, no less. For example, if there were 12 donuts for an after-church treat, you ate your 2 even if you weren't hungry for the second because it was yours, damn it. My darling husband does not do this, and by happenstance, he also eats a little more quickly than I do. This has resulted in some very serious conversations about the protocols for splitting an order of fries. For example, go slow and notice how much the other person has had, that I think he still is just kind of puzzled by, poor dude. And I, in my turn, am befuddled by the realization that not everyone feels compelled by this kind of numerical fairness. It also occurs to me that these disputes have Judge John Hodgman written all over them. They're usually okay with being alone because they're used to it. Christmases are usually sad for them because there are no kids to play games with and whatnot. You'd think they'd be stoked to get all the presents, but that's not really how it is. They're not spoiled because they get so much attention. They do get the benefits of being the focus of their parents' love, but they also get all the blame and never have anyone to share the brunt of frustrations with. They'll never be an aunt or uncle by blood, they'll never know the bond of a sibling, and they're their parents' only hope to become grandparents. There's an awful lot of pressure on them concerning their education and career because the parents want the best for them. In many cultures, the children are expected to take care of their parents later in life, and in those cases, single children get the fucking shaft. Anyways, it's not a sore spot at all. /S source, I'm a 44-year-old only child and still have a hard time with it.